Today I'm going to show you my new PS Vita, and I'm going to tell you about the different features that it has, and I'll tell you a little bit about the games as well. So let's get started. The first thing you're going to notice when you look at the PSP is that the buttons are very small. The start and select are over here, they're out of the way, and they're kind of difficult to push down, which is a little bit annoying, but at the same time it's important that you don't accidentally hit start all the time while you're playing, so it's kind of good that it's out of the way. The two sticks are easy to use with your thumbs, and it feels comfortable to hold it. For the left and right trigger buttons, at first a lot of people said they were kind of soft, but I think actually the point is that you can push it from different angles. So you can push it directly on top or kind of from the side, it will still work. The touchscreen is very responsive, so if I just touch it very lightly, barely touching it all, it will still move it up and down or whatever you're doing. From different little taps, or if you grab it and drag it around, it's very sensitive. And the back touch screen works just as well. There's no problems that I've seen. You don't need to press hard down or do anything like that. It's very, very sensitive and responsive. The network connectivity of the PlayStation Vita works really well. It's easy to find your Wi-Fi connection and connect. Once you've connected to the Wi-Fi, you can, download games or do whatever. You can also connect it to your PS3 to get games off of there, or you can connect it to your computer to download music or videos or something like that. So if you want to go on a trip, listen to music, watch videos, you can do that really easily. And because it has a camera on the front and the back, you can make your own new videos and new photos from your trip. The camera is decent, the quality isn't that good, it's kind of grainy, but it's okay. But it's cool that it has it on the front and the back, and you can switch between the two easily when you're they have some games where you need to switch, or if you just want to take a picture of yourself, take a picture of something far away, then it's easy to do it that way. One issue that's kind of important about the PS Vita that I didn't know before I bought it is that it can only work with one PSN account. Once you connect it to a PSN account, it cannot use things downloaded from another one, even if it's not purchased. If it's just like a demo or something like that, it will not be able to access it. And if you think you can take out the memory card with the information and put it back in, it keeps track of that too. So if you want to switch accounts, you have to erase and reformat the memory card, and you also have to reformat the PS Vita itself. So yeah, it's only one account. Now, if you have stuff downloaded on different accounts, you can reformat it and do that. That's what I already did. I changed from my Taiwan account to my US account because a lot of the Taiwanese downloads are Japanese only, and the American one always gets the English one right away. So that's the one I'm going to be using for my Vita. So it's important that you know when you go ahead and buy it that you're going to have to choose one of your accounts. I think that's probably one of the biggest issues that you won't see in other reviews. So keep that in mind. Another important aspect of the PS Vita is that it's region free. So you can download stuff from any region. This is an Asian region, different from Japanese region, and I can download, if I connect it to whatever account, US account, Japanese account, it will work. The PS Vita can also use PSP games. I'm sure you've heard of that, but you might not know that right now that even though the Vita isn't out in the US yet, it's still able to download PSP games from the US store. So I have Final Fantasy Tactics here, which I downloaded from the US PlayStation store, and it's working. I'm able to start it and play the game right now. So as soon as you get your PS Vita at launch, it's going to be able to run PSP games. So that will be there's probably over 270 games that are available on day one for the US for the PS Vita, and there are about 25 different Vita games. and they said that they're going to keep adding to the list of PSP games that are going to be able to work for the Vita. The audio on the PS Vita is also very good. It has speakers on either side of it, and you're also able to plug in headphones, and they work really well. I bought some Hori brand headphones, and they sound awesome. It doesn't sound quite as good coming out of the speakers, but it still good, sounds fine, and you can go between the volume up and down, and it has a pretty long range, so it can get pretty loud and get pretty gradually quieter, so you will be able to pick whatever level of sound that you think is right. I know some systems, they only give you a few options for sound, and it's like either really loud or really quiet, but this one's good about that, so that's something you won't need to worry about. And yeah, the connectivity with the earphones is definitely really great, so I would suggest that if you're going to be playing this a lot, you're going to want to put in the headphones. The PS Vita also allows you to do photos, videos, and music. There are also some features like Welcome Park, which has a few little mini games. It's fun to show off some of the capabilities like the camera, the touchscreen, motion sensing, and the microphone. It also connects to the internet with the web browser, and it also has a map system which it can locate where you are, and it has a kind of like a GPS function. You can connect it to Google Maps, and it also has Near, which lets you connect to different people who have Vita, and it can also do trophy support and PlayStation Store directly from the Vita. Alright, now I'm going to quickly talk about the games. Uncharted, it works really well. I was surprised by how interesting the touchscreen stuff was. I thought it might be kind of lame and thrown in, but actually I feel like it's a pretty good way to use the game. You can control everything normally like you do in the other Uncharted games, but it also gives you the option for touchscreen for a lot of activities. So you can use the buttons, but for example, like you're climbing across a big thing of rocks, then you know, it's not really difficult or challenging to hold the directional button and hit X. So you might as well just use the touchscreen to guide him across, and it's actually pretty fun to use your finger to guide him along. Then they have other things like when you're climbing, you'll like stroke the back of the PS Vita to like simulate climbing up the rope. So if you do it this way, it goes up, and the other way goes down. So that's interesting. They have like if you tap someone on the screen, it'll hit them with your punch attack, your melee or whatever. They also have some interesting things when you're looking at artifacts. You'll like use the back screen to rotate the object and the front screen to clean the object off. So I thought that was a really cool way to use it. And there's a lot of like little kind of mini games thrown in, but I think you could look at them as being separate things that are just thrown in, but actually I feel like it does a good job of like improving the quality of the game. I'll do a full review of Uncharted later, but for now, that's all I'm going to say about it. The only PSP game I have on here right now is Final Fantasy Tactics: War of the Lions, which is from the PSP, obviously. It's a remake of the original on PS1, which was one of my favorite games of all time, and I'm really happy to play it again on the Vita, and I'm excited that the Vita has a lot of ability to play older games and things that I've missed because I didn't own a PSP. The controls work perfectly as you'd expect. One cool aspect is that you can use the right stick for whatever you want. When you hold down on the touchscreen, it'll give you some options for the PSP games, and one of them is that you can change the right stick to function as the buttons, to function as the D-pad, or as the same as the left stick. So it gives you a little bit of options on that. And there's a few other options like something with the colors, and I didn't really understand exactly what they were for, but it's just some little technical options that you can try them out and see if you like one over the other. Overall, I say the PS Vita has a lot of promise. There's not too many games out right now, but I gotta say that the launch is pretty strong because most consoles don't really have that many games when they first come out. Think about the 3DS or you know, they're starting to come out with some games now, but at launch they didn't have very many. This one we're starting off pretty strong with Uncharted. If you're interested in some of the other genres, like they do have a good racing game, they have a good golf game. You know, I haven't played them, so I guess I shouldn't say that they're good, but you know, they're franchises that we know, you know, Ridge Racer and Hot Shots Golf and that kind of thing. So I think that this is a strong buy early on. I wouldn't worry about buying it day one or anything. They might have a price drop after a short amount of time. But I would say that, especially if you don't have a PSP, you never owned one, that this is a really good system to start off with, because you're going to be able to catch up on some of the older games, and you'll be ready there right at the beginning when the new Vita games come out. And I think the touchscreen is really interesting and useful, so I'm really excited about it and glad to be a Vita owner. So I encourage you guys to try it out and pick it up if you have the money to afford. And for the memory card, I guess that's the last thing I'll mention, is that I got the 4 gig. I'll probably have to buy a bigger memory card in the future, but for starting off, I don't have that many games. I think you don't need to jump out and buy a big 32 gig card. Maybe 8 gig is probably good, and you know, that's the only suggestion I have for it. So until next time, I'll hopefully be doing an Uncharted review, and maybe I'll review some other things that are on the system itself. And I'll see you guys next time. So this is Ian signing out. See you next time. Peace.